I am doing very well. Yourself?
Pretty good. Hi guys, welcome back to Wild Willie's Book Reviews. Today I'm here interviewing Donna Diebold. I have her book here, which is On the Other Side of Night. It is a great book which I have started to read, and yeah, so if you just want to introduce yourself a little bit.
Thanks very much for having me, William. I'm actually excited to be here and talk about my book and my experiences and answer some of your questions. About myself, I began with an interest in reading, perhaps writing, when I was in grade 2. I entered a poetry contest for the class and I won. And I thought, well, if writing might be something I'm interested in, I'll continue. Then in grade 6, I believe it was, I started writing my stories too long. My teacher actually asked me to stop because the assignment was to write 2 to 3 pages of creative writing on a certain topic. At page 6, I was still writing. So he said, perhaps you need to wrap that up. So then I knew, then I knew perhaps writing was for me in the future. So I went on to college and went to teacher's college, became a teacher, elementary teacher. And then after college, then I taught school for approximately 29, 30 years. During that time, what I did was I got my bachelor's degree, and that was majoring in psychology. And then I went on to have a master's degree in teaching. So I thought, okay, I'm ready to write. Now, my favorite topics to teach were reading and writing. In fact, in one of my schools, I started an extracurricular event on how to write stories. So I had students from middle school, the middle grade levels, sign up if they were interested. And I had a whole class of students who were interested in learning how to write a story. And then when I finished teaching, I decided I'm going to start writing a book. So I wrote On the Other Side of Night.
So when do you think your love of reading really started? Like, what do you think maybe sparked it? Like, were your parents writers, or just anything that sparked your love of reading?
My parents were not writers. I think because I started thinking of ideas. So I might dream something, wake up in the morning and think, hey, boy, I wonder what would happen if. And then when I was teaching, that was one of the things that I did charge my students with. Write a creative writing story about something that you think would happen, or started out with what would happen if perhaps my parents and I were taking a walk in the forest and a rabbit started following us, and my parents went on and the rabbit tapped me on the foot and started talking. Then write a story about it. So I think writing was just formed from ideas I had in my head that I thought would be good stories. In fact, when I was teaching first grade, grade 1, I came up with a story, a magical story, because I was teaching migration. So out of the top of my head, I told them a story about I created this goose and I named him Victor, and started telling a story about how this goose was afraid of heights. And so it went on to teach them all about migration. So I guess just stories in my head.
So what maybe sparked your inspiration to write On the Other Side of Night? Was there anything that you had in your head that like made you think of this topic in particular?
You were breaking up a little bit there, but I think I've got it. Actually, my grandmother came from England. I was always fascinated with medieval times, with knights and swords and castles and that sort of thing. So that's what sparked my interest in perhaps writing during that time. So my books are basically based in England and do have some element of the medieval or Victorian or some historical time frame.
So when you like wrote this book, was there anything that you would like to tell other people either trying to become authors or anything like that that you would like to tell them about, like what happens when you publish a book?
When you sort of have frozen on my screen, I'm sorry.
So is there anything that you would like to say to other people that are becoming authors about like kind of what happens when you publish a book?
I think the first thing I'd like to say is if you have an idea, don't let it stay in your mind. Get it out on paper, even if it's just for yourself, even if you're just reading to your pet. Get something down and see how that feels. If you like the experience of writing it down, if you like the experience of the story, then continue reading that, continue writing that, and perhaps start looking for opportunities to write different things. And then if you continue that and you wanted to get into the publishing end of it, then you're going to need to find somebody who's going to help you edit it to make sure that you don't have any slow parts or grammar problems. And then, of course, the task of finding a publisher.
So I think all the fans of your writing want to know, do you have any books planned to come out in the future, or any books that are maybe on the go as of right now?
Actually, I do. I am almost finished and ready to submit to an editor my novel called Where the Memories Live. And it is, again, the setting is in England. And the protagonist or the main character for my new book will be female. It'll be a girl who's 12 years old. The Other Side of Night was a boy main character, 12 years old. So I felt that perhaps if I had some girls out there who didn't want to read about a boy's main character, I would write it girls. So that one is basically aimed at the girls, although I've had several boys who have read it so far and have liked it. So I think it'd go for both sides.
Readings of your books like online now, or found a way to interact with maybe other kids like through your book?
Actually, being a teacher, I was able to get into some schools and talk to the librarians, and they have purchased a few of my books. I have done readings in libraries, in bookstores, and I think, I did a reading at a book fair where they had a tent for authors, and so I was able to read there.
So is there anything else you want to say to maybe people that are becoming authors or some of your fans?
I would love if they would take a chance and look up my book on Amazon.com. It comes in hardcover and Kindle on Amazon.com. It only comes in Kindle form on Amazon.ca. I'm also of completing an audio version of the book, On the Other Side of Night. I have already finished the audio part, so I've finished reading. Now my audio producer just needs to add the background music and the sound effects, which he is in the process of doing.
All right, so thank you so much for your time, and I will put your book link in the description below if any of you guys want to buy it right now. So yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me, William. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye.